Hi everybody and welcome back. If you're new to my channel, my name is Laura and I'm here to show you how to do this eye look today, which is a really fun New Year's Eve look, I think. I recently went to Ulta and I saw this palette and I hunted it down, like literally, and I found it, and it's the Morphe 9S palette. So it's called, the name for it is like, it's so chill. So it's just a really pretty cool tone palette. It has these really pretty taupe, cool tone brown, this navy, some of these like lighter colors. So this is like a matte, it's hard to see in this lighting, but this is just a matte white, this really pretty shimmer, and then like almost like a pink undertone shimmer, which would go really nice with this mauve and even with the brown. So I just really fell in love with this. So I used these three shades today to achieve this eye look. I just fell in love. I had to have it, and particularly because of this color, this sort of center taupe color, just with this awesome glitter. I just love it. I love the reflect on it. It's really, really fun. And I just wanted that really to be the highlight. So this is the look that I did. I bought a whole bunch of new products that I'm trying out today and giving you my thoughts about. One of them is this Born to Glow foundation. This is the color medium olive. So that's what I'm wearing now. I happen to really like it. I'm surprised. This is like a really super dewy foundation. I'm surprised I fell in love with it so much. And then the Butter Bronzer, which is an oldie but a goodie. I've never actually owned this before, but so many people have told me about it. I've seen so many YouTubers talk about it, and I finally picked one up at CVS. I also picked up a couple of Patrick Ta items, so one of the lipsticks, a lip liner, and a blush we're trying out today, as well as some Colourpop stuff. So I did primarily affordable stuff outside of the Patrick Ta items that I just like was dying to try. I must have seen him, and I'll say this later, but I must have seen him like in a video on Instagram or something, and then I was like dreaming about buying his stuff, and I've actually met him before. I was in San Diego and I heard that he was doing a like an event at the La Mer counter in Nordstrom, and I was like, I have to go, just even to say hello to him. And I know it's like no one really cares but me, or if you're like really into makeup, but I went and he like squeezed me in and he just did my like base foundation and like cream and stuff, and I was like in love. I was like, oh my god, can you please just like, you know, beat my face every day? And he's like, you have such nice skin, and I was like, thank you. It's like God told me I had nice skin. So that was really fun. And then once he came out with his own makeup line, I was like, I have to get a couple of things and just try them out. So the lip combo I'm wearing today is the She's Unapologetic lipstick with the She's Bold liner. So I do like this liner. I will say though that it's like a click pen, and it's this, it's kind of like a triangular shape, which was a little hard for me to figure out how to use, just because typically they're just pencils. So I will say this is a little tricky for me to use, but the color is really great. And this is a really nice, just like a pink nude. And I really like, I don't know, I prefer to use a darker liner with a lighter lipstick. It just gives a little bit more dimension instead of using the same color lip liner. So that's why I chose these two to pair. I also bought the She's Independent lipstick, which is the deepest color in the shade range, which also to pair with the She's Bold. I feel like I have other lip liners that I could pair with this as well, so that's why I didn't buy a second lip liner. I just feel like I have other ones between like MAC and NYX and Morphe liners that I could definitely pair with either one of these actually. So if you want to learn how to do this look, just keep on watching. Again, I just really fell in love with this sparkly eyeshadow that I just think, like, for some reason I just feel like when you go kind of monochromatic, or if you do more of like a simple eye look, I just feel like in photography, especially at nighttime, it comes out a lot nicer and is just more flattering in photos, which is why I decided to go with this simpler eye look. I love doing fun things, cut creases, all of that, but just kind of depending on what you're doing, what kind of photography you're going to be, you know, taking late at night in the dark, sometimes it can photograph a little bit weird. So I just feel like something like this that's softer will end up looking nicer in your pictures when you're looking at them the next day, when you have recovered from your evening of festivities. This New Year's and Christmas, I'm going to be in Phoenix, Arizona with my husband, who's on a work trip. So I'm going to go visit him, and I'm super excited to just like eat and drink and enjoy each other's company since he'll be away for the next couple of months. So I think it'll be super fun to be with him for New Year's. So this is likely the look that I will be doing, or some variation of this using this palette, because everyone needs it. And I should mention it's $12. Morphe came out with a bunch of nine eyeshadow palettes, which I think are just much more realistic, easier to travel with, and really the color story is just a little bit easier to play around with, rather than having this 36 eyeshadow palette and you just kind of don't know where to start. I feel like I have a lot more direction when I see something like this that's just 9 shadows. They all go really well together and you could really pick any combination of them. But today I just used 3 to create this look. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Don't forget to subscribe and just keep watching. So before you get started putting your makeup on, just make sure, because we want to make sure that our makeup lasts all night and that it doesn't move around on us and it stays looking really pretty, make sure you moisturize your skin first. And then I started also with an eye cream. I've had really dry eyelids recently, and so then your makeup doesn't go on quite as smooth, or your eyeshadow doesn't. So I prepped with the Olehenriksen Banana Bright Eye Cream, which I just started using. So I'll let you guys know how I like it more as time goes on. So today's eyeshadow look, I'm going to be using the Morphe 9S palette. It's this cool tone. I saw this and I was like, I need to buy it. I literally hunted it down in northern Nevada. I was in Reno. I called Ulta and Sparks and I was like, do you have this? It says you have it online. I had them hold it for me. I've been dying to find a cool toned eyeshadow palette with a navy blue and some of these taupe colors. And actually the camera just washed the color out a little bit. But I saw this and I had to have it. And honestly, this color in the middle is one of the main reasons why I bought it. This just has the coolest silver blue shift. It's such a cool taupe color. This is great for all over the lid, super shimmery. And obviously you can mix it with a bunch of other colors here, but I just thought if you want a more neutral look for the holidays, this color was just, I don't know, I fell in love immediately. But when don't I? Hence the slight addiction. So I'm going to start by prepping my eyelids. I'm going to use so I'm going to try and do mostly affordable products today that you could either buy in the drugstore or at Ulta, but sort of more, under, let's say, $20 at most. So I think that this concealer, the Milani Conceal and Perfect, I think it runs $9. So I'm going to use this to prep my eyelids. I do wish I bought this in one shade lighter, just for a little more brightening. It's pretty close to it is a little brighter than my skin tone, of course, but it is a smidge closer to my skin tone than I would normally like to use, but it's okay. I don't have, we got sparkles. This one will work for today. Wow, that cream definitely made a difference. I could see how much more hydrated my eyes look even with putting my concealer on, because before it was as soon as I would put the concealer on, you could see the patches. So then I'm just going to go ahead and set that. So today I'm going to be using the Milani Fit Me loose powder, which is a great powder. It's it does have a nice pigment to it. I wouldn't say it's totally translucent, but it is nice and mattifying, and it's just a really good powder. I think I'm going to start with this taupe color, and I'm going to go into my crease with that. I'm going to go ahead and use, I bought a new brush. I'm going to go ahead and use, I just bought this. It's the Jaclyn Hill JH35. It's just some kind of all over blender, crease brush, something like that she calls it. And I'm just going to put that right into the crease. It's kind of flat, which I like. So you can turn it this way if you want it wider, but this way if you want it flatter. So that I actually really like. That way you can get kind of right into the inner part of this crease, but then you're not bringing the color up too high. I have this blanket in my house that sheds fuzzies everywhere, and I find them everywhere, and they're on my eyeballs. You'll see I have a little bit of a dry patch right there. But this is definitely way better than it was. So then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to blend that out. I'm going to go in with the Morphe M441 brush. I'm just going to kind of buff this out. I think I want to smoke this out a little bit. So I'm going to go following your waterline. Oh, hello, dog. Make yourself at home. I'm going to take this out a little bit, just like this, following your waterline. And then I'm going to connect it to the rest of the eyeshadow. So I think we're going to do more of like a cat eye today. Yes. Yes. And then, so I'm winging this clearly. I have not made a plan. All I know is I love the way this eyeshadow palette looks. And I had to have it in my collection of 9,000 other eyeshadow palettes. But none are this one. So it's okay. Then going in with, I'm actually going to go in with the same taupe color, but I'm going to go in with the fluffier brush so it'll actually diffuse it, and just like a tad of it. Just to kind of diffuse the color a little more. But it will just soften it. I want to try and keep this look simple and easy, and you could really do this with any eyeshadow. It obviously doesn't have to be these. I just wanted a more cool toned look. Then I'm going to go in with this Morphe 514 brush. It's just a smaller fluffy brush, and I'm going to go in with this color, just a little bit of it. And we're just going to go right under that in the crease again, just to deepen it like a little bit. You're going to hear the dog because he's sitting right behind me. But I've noticed that when I try to make these videos, if he's not directly being paid attention to, he just cries on the floor. So together we will listen to the sounds of Gunther. And then now I'm just going back in with that Jaclyn Hill brush. I didn't add any product, and I'm just going to kind of diffuse that color I just put in there. And you'll see I just put very, very little. No, Vicky. No one likes to hear that gross sound. And then again with the big fluffy brush. Then all over the lid, because I have to use this color today. That was my only goal. I didn't know what I was going to do with it, but I was going to use it. I'm going to go in with this center color. I don't actually know what it's called. It did come with like a little insert that had all the names, but like no one keeps those. I'm going to pack this all over the lid. So this is going to be like a nice like smoky eye, which will be really pretty for like New Year's Eve, nighttime. Like this glitter will really like reflect. So then I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to add a wing. So I'm going to go in with the NYX Jet Black just gel eyeliner. And then as usual, I'm going to go in with my Morphe EO6, which is this like microscopic little brush. I actually have a new one that I want to use. Newish, I mean I used it, it's not new, but it's newer. And just put some of that on your brush. So that's how we're going to leave this. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the other eye. So now I'm going to go ahead and work on the skin. So I'm going to use my e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. Oh, and I'm just going to, they say this is a dupe for the Tatcha. I forget what she calls it, but it's like a pot just like this, and it's kind of a similar color. I've used that one before. It's fine. I don't think it's worth all the money. Not for like $60 or something. So once you have that on, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to try the Born to Glow foundation. So I saw this, I don't recently, but it didn't come out recently. I think it's been out for about a year. I did swatch this. I think it's a little too light for what I typically use, but I think I can make it work. It's just like, it matches me pretty well, to be honest, but I think by the time you put on like your highlighter and your bronzer and all of that, like it does change the the color of your foundation a little bit. So I got the color medium olive. I'm gonna go ahead, so this is supposed to be a very dewy foundation. I swatched it just on my face and in the store, but this is the first time I'm like really trying it. I would say this is like a light medium coverage. I feel like it's a little light, or I think it might just be a little neutral, honestly. But we'll see how we end up once the rest of my makeup is on. I'm gonna try and build up the coverage a little bit. So it does seem to build up a little bit, so that's good if you want more than just like a medium coverage, that you could probably just do a second layer. From other reviews too that I've read about this, it does dry down a little darker, so it might be okay. It is very dewy. Let's see if it's too dewy. I'm not oily at all, so I mean, I don't know that that's gonna be an issue, but this is like too shiny. I feel like I can reflect all the lights. All right, so then from here, I'm gonna go in with the, this is so dirty, but the Makeup Revolution foundation stick, and this is the color F14. So I'm gonna use this to cream contour. So I'm just gonna go here, just a few dots into the hollows of my cheek. Same thing here. This is really creamy, so it blends out really easily. I probably don't need this much on my nose. We'll just find out the hard way. And then I'm gonna take my beauty blender and I'm gonna buff that out. But it does just blend out really easy. So I like to do the cream contour before I do my the highlight or like the brighter concealer, just because I feel like it just blends nicer that way to me. So I'm gonna go ahead back with the Milani Conceal and Perfect, and I'm gonna put this under the eye. You certainly don't have to use this much if you don't want to. And then down the bridge of the nose here. This is like the most dewy foundation I think I've bought in a really long time, which is not really a bad thing. I've kind of been looking for one, but they say dewy a lot of times and I just don't feel that. Or maybe they just like haven't worked well with my skin. So far my skin looks really nice. All right, so now that we're looking like a dewy like raindrop here, I'm gonna go ahead and set down this concealer, which should definitely mattify a little bit more. I'm not opposed to being dewy. I just don't want to look shiny, like greasy. So we're just gonna tap this out and then take some of that Fit Me powder and tap that in. And then I'm gonna go ahead now, and before I'm gonna chisel the contour a little bit, but before I do that, I'm gonna go in with a bronzer. So I just bought the butter bronzer, which like everyone talks about, but I just never bought it. It smells like cocoa butter. This is just the color Bronze. I do wish I got one color up, but it is quite buildable, so you don't have to, you can just build it up, and it actually goes on really smooth. So this is just a Morphe M523. And especially on top of a cream contour, you're already starting with a like bronzed base. So you don't really need a super heavy bronzer on top, because sometimes then it may look too heavy. Okay. And then I'm gonna wipe away the powder from under. Sorry, brush. Wipe the powder away from under my eye. I gotta, there's a fuzzy somewhere. I feel you. All right, we're gonna try to ignore it. I'm actually gonna take a little of that powder on the on this brush and just tap a lot of it off, and then just go over these other spots that we put the concealer. That way those don't move. So once you set this down with powder, I mean, it's not really dewy anymore. It's actually just a really smooth foundation. I would probably not recommend this if you're oily still, because I bet you'll be more oily. But it doesn't stay like super shiny because you're really like setting everything down with powder. So then I'm going to take some of this powder on the back of my beauty blender. I'm just tapping off a little of the excess, and then I'm going to cut my contour, just so we get a cleaner line. We are going out, it's New Year's Eve. I just want to make sure that everything kind of stays in place. So I'm going to let that sit for a little bit, and then I'm going to move on to my eyebrows. So I'm going to be using the Morphe micro brow pencil. So this is the color Latte. I actually really like this eyebrow pencil. I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I ended up, but it actually stays on really nice. It's like a nice waxy consistency, which is just what I like. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the Morphe, it's a highlighter stick for under your brow, and I'm just going to use that right under the brow. This is just going to highlight and lift and then clean up the brow. And then I'm just going to go in just with like a little buffer brush. Probably going with this guy. It's just like a Morphe E17. It's just like a dual fiber brush. And now that that's done, I'm just going to wipe away this extra powder that we have. So don't worry if it's a little light. So I'm going to spray it with like a setting spray at the end, and that should take away like any sort of powderiness you have left over. Then going back in with the eyeshadow palette, I'm going to go in with this brown color. And I'm going to just go in with a small fluffy brush. So this is the Morphe M506. And I'm just going to take that and go underneath the lash line. Then I'm just going to go, I'm going to go back in with that first taupe color we used. And I'm just going to go right over that. So once we smoke out that bottom lash line, I'm going to go in with some black liner. So this is the LA Girl Ultimate Intense blah 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 liner. It's black liner. I'm going to put that right in my waterline, and I'm actually going to bring it down into my lash line a little bit. And then taking a small like flat brush. This is a MAC 212. It's just a flat brush. I'm going to go ahead and buff that out. Then just going in with a pencil brush and a little more of the this like darker color. I'm going to go ahead and just fade that in. So now I'm going to go ahead and do some blush and some highlighting. So this is not a drugstore product, but I literally had a dream about this. It's so bizarre. I must have been watching Patrick Todd do something on Instagram or something, and I'd seen his products in Sephora, and I just like couldn't bring myself to buy them. I'm like, I don't really need them, but I did buy a couple of things. I bought one of the blushes. So this is She's Sincere. So it's like the sort of like the deepest of them, but it's like this really pretty, like it looks really peach in the screen, but it's a little bit more mauve, I feel like, in person. So I'm just going to take a flat brush from MAC, and I've heard that these are pretty light, like you really have to like build it up, which I kind of like because then you don't get a ton of product all at once. It's definitely like buildable. It doesn't just put on a big glob just like off the bat. and very soft. And then I'm going to go in with a highlighter. So I bought this color. So I had never bought anything Colourpop before until now. I was in Ulta the other day and I really wanted to try some of their stuff, and they happen to still have some things in stock. So this is the color Wisp in the Super Shock Cheek. It's a highlighter. So I'm going to take this fluffy brush from Morphe, and I'm just going to go ahead. Oh, that's pretty. I hope you can see this in the camera. I don't know if you can, but it's super pretty. It's a very like interesting texture, but it goes on really nice. It's definitely not like a powder. It goes onto your brush like normal. Yeah, that's really pretty. To my sweaty lip. And then some just on the bridge of my nose. I'm going to go ahead and for my lips, I also bought some Patrick Ta stuff. So this is the color, the lip liner, and the color She's Bold. It's the darkest of them. It's like a clicky pen. I'm going to go ahead and line my lips. And then I'm going to go in with the color Unapologetic in his one of his lipsticks. This is the lightest of the colors. And then I'm just going to touch up with the liner. I'm just going to curl my lashes and go ahead and pop on some mascara and some falsies. So now that I just popped on some Ardell falsies in the number 812, these are just really pretty sort of fluttered lashes. I'm going to go ahead and highlight the inner corners of my tear ducts. So I'm just going to take the same Colourpop highlighter that we used earlier and just this little brush. This is just the Morphe 321, and just get a little on there. And just pop this right into the corner. And then a little on the high points of our brow. And then just a quick spray of the NYX Dewy Finish Spray. And this is the finished look, so I'll go ahead and zoom you in so you can see. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video today. I really enjoyed making it. I think this palette is just going to be really versatile. I really love the cool tones in it. It's got this really pretty mauve shade, and this glitter that we use actually does have like a mauve undertone, so they would be really pretty together. Like these three together, or even these four together would be pretty. There's so many options to do with this, and it's 12 bucks, so you really can't beat it. The pigmentation is really great. I didn't have any issues with blending out, with like sort of color pickup. There's like a little bit of fallout when you go into the shadows, but that's pretty standard with like any palette I've bought recently. I do happen to really like this foundation. I'm surprised how much I like it. My skin looks really nice. I feel like even though we set it with powder, like I can still see how it's kind of luminous still. And hopefully with the powder, it won't like get too sort of, you know, dewy or like too oily looking. I will say, so I bought this Fit Me powder a while ago. It got a lot of hype on social media. I do feel like it makes me a little dry looking underneath my eye, But right now I'm really struggling with dry eyes, so I typically like the Hourglass Veil powder better, but that's way more expensive. So I think bang for your buck, this Fit Me powder is going to be really good for you if, you know, you're just looking for a translucent powder sort of for every day. And also this like butter bronzer, I was like pleasantly surprised, and I was really worried that I got too light of a color, but I don't think it's too light at all, actually. It does give you a really nice bronze glow, and I do usually cream contour prior to bronzing, so I think that'll give me plenty of pigmentation. If there's anything you guys want to know more about, let me know. I'm going to do a review after this of all the products, like a haul that I did of all the products that I bought, because I did buy a couple more things that I want to show you guys and just give you my opinion on. If you have any feedback or any questions for me, please leave them in the comments down below. Please don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching. Bye.